Amanda, the Lioness Nunes, isn't merely a title in the realm of MMA. She is a powerhouse, an icon shaped by hardship and determination. However, her ascent to supremacy didn't commence in a grand arena beneath dazzling lights. It originated in the most improbable settings, fueled by an indomitable spirit and an insatiable drive. Her tale is one of perseverance, enthusiasm, and an unyielding quest for excellence, demonstrating that champions aren't simply born. They emerge through tribulations that would shatter the average. Hailing from Brazil, Amanda wasn't the childhood prodigy many might assume. She didn't fantasize about title belts or UFC stardom. Initially, her heart belonged to soccer, the lifeblood of Brazil's culture. She envisioned herself dazzling spectators with her footwork. Destiny, however, had alternate plans. At the tender age of 4, her parents parted ways, leading her to live with her mother and 2 siblings. Life was a struggle. Her mother, Yvette, toiled endlessly, vending snacks and beauty merchandise alongside her main role as a school clerk, merely to sustain the household. Yet, hardship molds warriors. Academics were part of her routine, but sports were her true passion. She possessed natural athleticism, excelling in soccer with a fierce play style that foreshadowed the fighter she would become. However, trouble trailed her, and street fights became frequent. Unlike conventional parents, her mother didn't condemn it. Yvette had once trained in boxing. Still, she urged Amanda to channel her energy productively. That decision would redefine Amanda's destiny, setting her course toward the summit of combat sports. Fighting coursed through Amanda's veins. Not only had her mother dabbled in boxing, but her uncle, José Silva, was also a competitor in Brazil's brutal veiled tudo circuits. As a young girl, she observed her mother assisting fighters, absorbing the electrifying aura of the sport. When her elder sister, Vanessa, started practicing jiu-jitsu, it was inevitable that Amanda would follow. At 16, she stepped onto the mat for the first time. That initial role, that first taste of discipline, was all it took. She was captivated. Her journey had begun. Amanda relocated to Salvador, training under the esteemed Edson Carvalho. It wasn't a luxurious lifestyle. She resided within the gym, rising at 4:30 a.m. daily to clean mats before practice. As the sole woman in a gym filled with men, discouragement could have overwhelmed her. But Amanda used it as motivation. She trained relentlessly, absorbing wisdom rapidly, and soon earned recognition in jiu-jitsu competitions. Her aptitude was undeniable. She swiftly ascended the ranks, securing her blue, purple, and brown belts. Yet, grappling alone wasn't enough. She craved more. Boxing became her next challenge. Incorporating striking into her skill set made her a well-rounded combatant, and soon she was prepared to enter the cage. On March 8, 2008, Amanda Nunes made her professional MMA debut. But instead of the triumphant beginning she envisioned, she endured a devastating loss in merely 35 seconds. For many, that would be the end, a sign to abandon the dream. But Amanda wasn't built that way. 3 months later, she returned to the cage, and this time, she didn't just win. She annihilated her adversary in 11 seconds. It was a declaration to the world. She was here to conquer. In Brazil, she became a knockout artist, securing 5 consecutive victories, all by stoppage. Her reputation as a vicious striker skyrocketed, catching the attention of larger promotions. She transitioned to Strikeforce, where she continued demonstrating her devastating power. Yet, obstacles persisted. Defeats came, insecurities arose, and the path to the UFC seemed unclear. Nevertheless, with each setback, she adapted. Every failure became a lesson, refining her abilities, fortifying her resolve, and sharpening her prowess. Then, in 2013, she received the call that changed her trajectory. The UFC awaited. Her UFC debut was a glimpse into the future. She dismantled Sheila Gaff in the opening round, securing her first UFC payday, $12,000. It was a modest start, but Amanda had grander ambitions. She climbed the rankings, finishing opponents with ruthless precision. Then, at UFC 200, the defining moment arrived. She squared off against Miesha Tate for the bantamweight championship, and in dominant fashion, she overwhelmed the title holder, clinching a submission triumph in round 1. Amanda Nunes was now the champion, and the world had yet to grasp what lay ahead. Defending her title was one challenge, but what followed cemented her legacy. In her initial title defense, she faced the biggest name in women's MMA, Ronda Rousey. The world anticipated a fierce contest. Instead, Amanda delivered devastation. Within 48 seconds, she dismantled Rousey, signaling the conclusion of an era and the commencement of her own reign. The lioness had arrived, and nothing could halt her. But Amanda wasn't content with a single belt. She aimed to etch her name in history. At UFC 232, she ascended to challenge the formidable featherweight champion, Cris Cyborg, a fighter many deemed invincible. What transpired next stunned the MMA universe. Amanda obliterated Cyborg in 51 seconds, becoming the first female in UFC. Records were shattered. Amanda Nunes had cemented herself as the greatest female fighter ever. Her accolades are astounding. With over 22 triumphs, 13 knockouts, and multiple title defenses, she established records that may remain unbeaten. She became the pioneer woman to defend championships in 2 categories, maintained the longest cumulative title reign, and recorded the most knockouts in UFC women's bantamweight history. But beyond statistics, beyond achievements, Amanda's defining trait is her relentless spirit. She fights not solely for recognition, but for something greater: her family, her heritage, and the unwavering belief that the impossible can be conquered. From requiring respite due to nerve impairment to acknowledging that women's MMA is thriving, here's the genuine reason Amanda Nunes stepped away. Amanda genuinely required recuperation. She's delighted to return to Brazil, but a significant issue loomed. Her legs suffered from chronic nerve damage, worsening with every bout. That's why she was frequently seen on crutches post-fight. Yet, retirement doesn't signify a complete departure from MMA. Amanda harbors ambitious plans, rebuilding her gym, establishing a training facility in South Florida, and evolving into a mentor. She cannot detach from the sport. She has cultivated a gym where elite women train, and now she is prepared to guide them toward greatness. Her expertise could shape a future champion mirroring herself. If she dedicates herself to mentoring a singular fighter, who knows how far they might ascend. She is fervent about preserving her legacy and aiding the forthcoming generation in reaching their potential. And here's the remarkable part. Someone foresaw this. Dana White, the U.S. than ever documented. Dana suspected Amanda might retire, but witnessing her dominate so decisively, it still left him astounded. He conceded she had amassed millions, revolutionized her life over the past decade, and had nothing more to prove. Certainly, he wished to see her persist, but he respected her choice and prioritized her happiness. In Dana's estimation, she remains the greatest female combatant of all time. Now we recognize that MMA retirements are often temporary. but Dana believes this one is genuine. Judging by Amanda's emotional farewell, it is justified. After vanquishing Irene Aldana at UFC 289, Amanda placed both her championship belts on the mat, had her cutman remove her gloves, and left them in the octagon's center. Then, she knelt and wept. That moment marked the close of an era.